A federal judge in Colorado has denied a request yesterday for an emergency injunction against the Mountain West Conference and San Jose State University. That request then denied a second time yesterday by the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. This lawsuit centers around a San Jose State women's volleyball player who is transgender. 6 teams, including UNR, forfeited their games against San Jose State, claiming the player posed a safety risk and gave San Jose State an unfair advantage. This is all unfolding now as the Mountain West women's volleyball tournament starts today at Cox Pavilion. So, what does this mean now for the teams playing in that championship tournament? Joining us to talk about it, attorney Matthew Hoffman with Battleborn Injury Lawyers. Matt, always good to see you.
You as well.
So what do we take from this ruling and then the second ruling, the backup?
Yeah, well, I mean, the second ruling was just affirmed. They affirmed the lower court's ruling. But big issue, big lawsuit. It's a lot bigger than just what was ruled on. So what was ruled on was an emergency injunction request. You've got this player, it's Blair Fleming is the player's name. And she hasn't come out publicly and admitted that she is transgender, but one of her roommates, a teammate, she did. And this information came out. The lawsuit is alleging a Title IX violation, saying basically this is unfair to women. There's also allegations that the school and its administrators put pressure on the students not to speak out, threaten their scholarships if they were to speak out. One of the plaintiffs is a current assistant coach who was suspended by the school for speaking out. And then there's allegations that the Mountain West changed its rules on forfeits last spring, knowing this was coming, and made it punitive on schools that would boycott games and forfeit games. So there's a lot going on here that the lawsuit will continue beyond this, this injunction request. But you have a big issue here with this. Blair Fleming was at Coastal Carolina, and in South Carolina, they passed a law that biological males could not participate in female sports. So she transfers to San Jose State, which is in the Mountain West. Mountain West allows transgender men to play women's sports, so does the NCAA, as long as you're below a certain threshold of testosterone. And so during the season, you've had 4 conference games get forfeited, and those resulted in wins for San Jose State. Because of that, they have a first-round bye. They don't play today. They play on Friday. But Utah State and Boise State play today. The winner plays San Jose State on Friday. Both of those teams boycotted earlier in the season, so I don't even know if there'll be a game on Friday.
We'll have to see how the tournament
Right.
unfolds. From what I've understood, this was initiated by this player's roommate,
Yes.
who had also transferred into San Jose State and didn't know during road games when they were rooming together.
Yep.
That this was a transgender athlete.
Yep.
And found out from some of the other players.
Yeah, and it was being kept secret. The school was basically telling them, don't let this get out. And here's why it's a big deal. San Jose State is a public university. When we talk about Leah Thomas with swimming, that was the Ivy Leagues. Ivy League schools do not give scholarships for athletics. San Jose State does. Blair Fleming took a scholarship away from a biological woman. That is a huge, huge issue that is now coming to the forefront.
And that takes us into how have you been harmed?
Exactly, that's Title IX. And the issue is going to be, the judge came down and said, look, in order to get an emergency injunction, you have to show that you're going to suffer irreparable harm. Well, you've been forfeiting games for the last 2 months. Why did you bring it now? Why did you bring it right before the tournament? You can't say that it's irreparable harm, you've already forfeited games. And then number 2, a high likelihood of success in the merits. And he pointed out Title IX protects against discrimination based upon sex and gender identity. So it's not clear cut. So to me, this lawsuit absolutely brings this whole issue, no matter what you think of it, really brings it to a head, and it's probably going to end up with the Supreme Court, because they got to decide, what does Title IX stand for, if not to prevent a biological woman from losing her scholarship to a biological male? Versus, is a biological male who identifies as a female protected under Title IX, and which outweighs the other? And they're going to have to decide.
Well, and as you said, that goes back to the original intent of the law when
Right.
Title IX was passed, which is how long ago?
1972. 1972. And obviously back then, this transgender issue was not even discussed. It was not contemplated under the original writing of the law. The original intent was to protect women. That's why in some schools you'll see they have a football team, but then they have to have an equal number of spots in women's sports. So like UCLA has a men's or a women's swim team or a women's diving team. They don't have a men's, right? Because you have to make up for that balance to make sure you have equal opportunity for women. You know, we never hear about trans women competing in men's sports. It doesn't happen. But you have trans men who are now, in this case, taking away a scholarship from a biological woman. It's a big deal.
Well, we'll see how this unfolds as far as the Mountain West Conference tournament
See if there's a game
is
on
concerned. Right. And as you said, this will definitely be moving through the legal system. So.